Let's go, Tennessee fans. We got our wish. Nico gets a start versus Iowa. Comment down below. Do you believe he'll be an all-SEC quarterback next season? And this is something I've been begging for even before the season began, Nico being the starter from the get-go. So let's see how he does. Obviously, a little split zone action right here. Very easy completion to get things going for this Tennessee offense. And it does help that this player slips right here. Obviously, we would like to see 87 get more vertical before he almost steps out of bounds right here. And you pick up some nice yardage here on first. All right, so we get to the 2nd and 20, and understand that it wasn't just Nico that won this game. It was more so that great Tennessee defense. Number 27, Pierce, was sensational. He had a pick six, but also just provided consistent pressure in this game. One thing was the protection really wasn't that great in this game, if you ask me, for Nico. Here it's pretty good. I think they're doing some variation of vertical choice. So, if the DB's playing off of you, the wide receiver comes back and bang, that's a really good throw right there to a receiver. And now we just need him to make somebody miss. All right, now before we get to this 3rd and long, I want to show you one thing about this Tennessee offensive line. I felt this year they were good run blockers. I mean, you could see just right up the middle, this movement they're getting on this double. So this was a little bit earlier in the drive, and you're able to pick up an easy first down. The run game, for the most part, it wasn't particularly explosive, but Dylan Sampson and company was able to get the job done. Throughout this season, this Tennessee offensive line just wasn't good pass blockers, right? It was one of those things where it really cost you in the Missouri game. And one thing I see is they do lean too much, and they sit very heavy. And when you do that, it opens yourself up for swims, rips, and all kinds of immediate pressures. And 54 was probably the worst culprit of it all season. And right here, it's actually the right tackle that gets beat right here. I would evaluate the techniques and everything. And then eventually the left tackle gives up this pressure, and there's just nothing available here for Nico to do. He's just got to eat this sack. All right, so we get to here. This was a relatively big miss, if you ask me, but it was an understandable miss as well, okay? So you can see this is a middle-of-the-field closed single high look, and right from the jump, the safety here actually goes to the tight end. Bang! So once you see that, this is open, okay? Unless there is some magical safety back here we can't see, that would have been open right there. Now, the only issue is we can't see this corner. This corner might be over the top of this. It's highly unlikely he is. So this would have been there. Normally, that's not where you're going with this football. But still, you get an explosive pass play on the comeback route because this corner was so far deep into his third. So that is still a good throw for a nice explosive gain, but that shows you the Heupel offense. When you have these wide splits and you're able to get something going in the running game, it's just so much ground you have to cover. I know this is an incompletion, but this is definitely one of my favorite Nico reps because honestly, everything was covered here. All right, so this is covered at the top of the screen. Deep over route right here gets picked up by this overhang defender. So nothing is open. And he does a good job as a young quarterback to not force any of it, and then resets his feet, works back to the middle on the deep crosser here, and Keaton is just swallowed alive by that defender right there. One thing I would say is look at this ball placement right here. I understand it wasn't complete, and you want to lead this receiver, but that's actually pretty good ball placement after making a semi-full field read right there. All right, here we go. It's 3rd and 8. You got to remember, Iowa's defensive coordinator is one of the best in the modern college football era, Phil Parker, and they actually have something called really well for this pressure. So they are bringing essentially everyone, okay? There is one QB spy to pick up scraps if for some reason he was able to go. And like we always say, the one type of pressure you don't want to give up is unblocked A-gap pressure. So what I would have done here with the center they're running a screen here to the left side, is I would have changed the protection here. Now, I don't know if that's on the center or on the quarterback. I would have told this right guard to block down, this tackle to block down on here, because this is a screen. We just need a decent amount of blitz pickup here. And they let the faster linebacker here go untouched, okay? I would prefer this guy to be untouched because he is an end from this direction when you're throwing a screen over here. Now, there's a lot of eye candy on this play as well. It looks like this is a screen to the right side, and Nico might have the option to actually throw this, but I do think this is just a screen all the way over here to the left. Now, could Nico have done something here, right? It's kind of hard to say with unblocked A-gap pressure from a backer, the worst type of pressure you could give up. But in this situation, if you know this is going to be a screen and these guys are this heavy in your face, you've got to give more ground to give Sampson more time to get out here because this is a huge gainer. So I would have kept backing up and then throw deeper into this area. Now, it's tough because you're getting mollywopped here, but if you find a way to get Sampson the ball right here, there is nothing over here. So this was a really good play call. It just wasn't protected. So we get here, 1st and 10. It's still 0-0. This is some really good wide receiver play right here by Ramel Keaton. He just dropped it. It was a tough first half for him. He's going up against a DB here with inside leverage. So a slant is really hard to beat a DB in this spot, okay? But he's still able to do it, and he's still able to get separation, and this ball is where it needs to be, and he just drops it, okay? So right here, it looks like these tackles are getting beat by leaning, but part of the design of this play is it's an RPO, right? So they're run blocking, and it ends up being a pass. They don't know if they're run or pass blocking. So I'm a little bit more lenient when you get beat by leaning because both of them do. But since it's a quick design play, it's okay if you see that. It still doesn't look great, if you ask me, but it's still effective. Obviously, very good stuff right here. Nico saw that this DB was off. Get the football to Keaton, get a nice little gain right here on 1st, and now you are in the extended red zone. All right, we get to 2nd and 4, and this box is a 5-man box. So I would prefer to run on this, but you're deciding to throw, that's okay. And this is just, once again, really good quarterbacking right here from Nico. This looks covered. They're not even running routes at the top of the screen. That's also by design. Is this in-breaker to Keaton open? I don't know. There's a safety right here. So Nico doesn't want to throw it, and now you just got to take off and run. And it wasn't open. That's a good job right there by Nico to take these yards. And with his back turn, that's perfect. If you just want to keep running. You just want to keep running, and that's good. Okay? And you get a nice run, and you get out of bounds. Don't take a hit. Some good quarterbacking right there. All right, so now we get to the tutty. Man, this is very well blocked and about as well executed you will see a QB counter. And to have the speed right here to leave this backer and not get tripped up, that's some really good stuff. Look at the family going crazy. That must be awesome. Going up against a pretty legendary defensive coordinator, and you're cooking him. This is just good stuff from Heupel, Ellerby, and the brain power. You just can't block a play better than this. And there's nothing more beautiful in football than when you have one of these kind of, and it wasn't actually counter, it was just a little quarterback draw. It's just good stuff, right? Because you're stretching them out with these deep comeback routes, and the linebackers are just so stretched out. It just opens up all this space, and man, this is just really well blocked. Look at this seal job right here. Good job by Sampson doing the little things right here, getting a great second-level block, and it's to the hizzy, baby. All right, here we go. Nico absolutely beginning to cook here. Vertical here, vertical here. Protection is really good. The play action fake definitely helps. And obviously, you're just waiting to see what this wide receiver wants to do. He decides to come back. I believe these are the patented option routes, and Nico just throws an absolute strike. Very safe and easy throw, and they are cooking. So, Tennessee fans, I'm going to need your help. It is shocking how many times I've done these Tennessee film studies, how quickly linemen get beat with swim moves. Right, it was all throughout the Missouri film study. If you want to see it, it's floating in the top right corner of your screen. And the 3-tech just absolutely dominates this guard right here. And by doing that, it forces Nico to not get over here to this running back, and that is a touchdown. Okay, so he has to obviously escape this, and I am guessing the read here is dot to dot to dot. Right? Or it could be there to there. Either way, that is a lot of pressure given up right here by the guard. 54 eventually gets beat right here. But the funny thing is Nico's gearing up to throw, and obviously I don't have the angle here. I think he could have ripped this. The design of this is to have this player draw both of these guys into coverage and go to the tight end. Or if two players goes to the tight end, you go to the running back. The design, though, is to get two people on one offensive player, and that's what works here. The corner whose responsibility is out here, he runs with the tight end, and this is there. So I'm a little shocked when it got to here. He didn't just rip this right here because this is a touchdown. You see him gearing up to throw. Maybe that corner bailed off of that quicker, and Nico decides to play it safe and not throw it. And that's okay because he is a good runner. He makes this guy miss, and he's able to fall forward. You would prefer, though, him actually rip that ball. Still, Tennessee ends up scoring. They get a very big break right here. You'll see off the snap that these defensive linemen are slanting to the left. When it's a run to the left, it's obviously never good because that makes this sealed job right here by this guard that much easier. That's a really good job right there by 78. Good job by 54 going to the next level. And then running back gets to this player. That's well blocked right there. And you'll see it right here. Yes, this was a stunt. Obviously, in this case, you would have liked this defensive lineman to take this on a little bit more square. And next thing you know, they have two linemen in the same gap. This has happened a lot in the SEC this year. It's shocking how many times you see defensive players, especially with the defensive coach like Parker, with that bad a gap integrity. But it happened, and Tennessee makes you pay for it. All right, we get to here, okay? And this is obviously a quick little play-action screen, and, well, it's a bad throw, okay? This wasn't going for a lot. But still, you'd like to see it get completed. We get to the 2nd and 10, okay? That was one of the few negative reps by Nico. We're not breaking down a whole lot of his negative stuff because it was his first start. And I like the fact that Tennessee comes right back to this. That is really good play sequencing, right? You fail to get a quick screen to the left. Instead, you do the same thing, but you dress it up with a counter run play. And this could be an RPO where Nico reads this defender, and if he bites in, you just throw it out here, and you give one of your fastest players of football in a lot of space to operate with, and that's just easy offense. Picks up a nice 12-yard gain. All right, we get to Nico's best throw of the day, and this made the highlight reel everywhere. And whenever we break down a big play, I always like to start with the protection, okay? Once again, it's the swim moves that Tennessee has been getting beat with all season long. Lucky enough there was a guard here to pick this up, and if there wasn't, Nico is getting knocked into next season. Always a good thing to keep that blind side protected. But everywhere else here, the protection's actually really good. Okay, that's good stuff across the way. Next thing, I can't see what's happening up here. I'm guessing these are just verticals being run by the receivers at the top. There is an in-breaker here. This isn't open. That's NFL open right there, but he's obviously trying to hit the verticals. That's a really tough throw. So he does the smart thing and roll out to the right side. If you're a playmaking quarterback, I am a big believer. If you're able to break contain with your right arm open to your throwing arm side and all your routes are on this side of the field, go ahead, roll out, see if you can make something happen. And he does. I mean, this is really, really crazy stuff. He had a throw like this in the spring game that was so unbelievably breathtaking. If you want to see that throw, it's in the top right corner of your screen. All right, you see it right here. I mean, look at the zip on this ball. That is ridiculous. And look at where it's placed. Bang. I mean, he couldn't have put that ball any better. I mean, the coverage is really good. That's a good job by Keaton. Stupendous. It really is elite stuff. And that's what you want to see, man. You want to see in the first start some major high upside throws. This was something that Garrett Nussmeier did in his first start for LSU versus Wisconsin. Just elite playmaking ability. All right, so like Garrett Nussmeier versus Wisconsin, your first ever start came against one of the best defenses in the country, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, right? So Nuts went up against Luke Fickell. He did a lot of exotic things, and Phil Parker does something very exotic here. He brings a delayed pressure from the backer, okay? So this edge player is going to take the running back, but what the design of this is this edge player goes to the inside. This linebacker backs up, waits for this player to eat up two of these blocks, and then goes. So you'll see the execution of this is absolutely beautiful. So he just kind of wraps around, and then he's after the QB, and he's untouched. Okay? So what the great quarterbacks do, and these do not show up in the highlight reels, but if there was one quarterback who was the best at this, it was Joe Burrow, okay? He was so good at avoiding disastrous plays. You just don't see him on the highlight reel, right? Some of your best plays as a QB are throwaways. Okay, this is 2nd and 15. This is an untouched player, and all the routes are vertical, right? Nothing is being run quick, and your running back is set in to block, all right? So you really only have a few options here. You either just sit here and just chunk this into the stands into the direction of these receivers, or you try and make a play, okay? So Nico spins out with this athleticism, and now he's just got to make something happen, all right? Now, in a perfect world, you could flip this little floater right here, and this is a massive gain, but that's nearly impossible. This is crazy stuff that he was able to get this much mustard on the ball while he's fading away. And look at actually, the first thing here is he threw off his right foot, all right? Look at this. Got hit in the head, no penalty, and look at where this ball actually ended up, all right? This almost got there for a nice gain. That is ridiculous stuff. That is one of the better plays I saw him make. All right, so here's the thing about the Heupel offense is it's just so hard to play off of guys the entire game because this is just what Tennessee did, okay? You get the play action fake right here. I'm not showing you a lot of the run plays from this game. This is obviously their patented vertical switch release. If they see that DB is so far off, they just begin to work back to the quarterback. And if the protection is good, you're just going to keep getting killed by this all game long. Wide open pitches and catches, and it's an explosive play. I mean, it's a 15-yarder, and if your DBs can't tackle, it gets even worse. It's actually a good job by 27 to eventually bring down a dangerous player, but still. So now we get to this throw, and guy, it would have been nice to have this one completed for Nico's highlight reel. Keaton does quit running, and I understand the shadows were an issue. It's really difficult to overcome some white balance issues in an environment like this. But still, just a weird play overall. Okay, so Keaton obviously burns this DB really, really, really bad. Now, how did he burn him? I don't know, but when you're getting beat by those comebacks, you start sitting heavy, and then they actually go vertical, and these things happen, all right? So Keaton slows down, and if he keeps running, does he catch this? I don't know. I mean, this ball looked a little wide, if you ask me. Still, it's good acknowledgement. It's a good job by Nico finding and making the right decision. Just need better execution. I mean, I don't know why he slowed down for it. I really don't. But the ball was not really close, so I don't know. It's tough to really say. All right, so here we go. I mean, it's just simple pitch and catch, but this one wasn't so simple. Okay, the coverage was okay, and you just throw this football low and away for a nice 7-yard completion. It's good stuff. So we're not really showing you the Dylan Sampson runs. You know, in my last film study, I talked a bit about Dylan and the frustrations getting him touches, but you know, with the other guys not playing in this game gave him the opportunity to be the guy, and it's going to be interesting to see what his future holds. Obviously, they tried this play action again, and is this open right here? I mean, I guess in theory, you could just throw the same thing you just saw a minute ago again, right? But Nico elects to not do it. And let's see if there was pressure here. Yeah, eventually they do get by. Is that a little hold right there? It might be. I'm not so sure. But Nico decides to break this contain. And you've got to make the guy miss. And you do just that. And now you get a big play. You know, as a defense, when the offense is having a good day, when the quarterback is able to get those scrambles, it just sucks. It really, really, really sucks. All right, so we move ahead to here. Play action fake is crazy. It does draw a lot of attention. And are either of these routes open? Could that be fit in right there? Yeah, I mean, it could. Could this be thrown? Yes, that could be thrown. So, 2 potential touchdown throws right here, but Nico feels hot running the football. So if you feel that way and you think you can pound this thing on in, then take it, right? Because there's not going to be a drop, there's not going to be an interception, potentially not going to be a fumble. If you can get in, take it yourself. But they were open, right? Now, if you want to get crazy, Mahomes would have done a behind-the-head pass right here, leading the tight end. That is some good stuff, though, to score on the ground. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. And Tennessee fans, if it's in your heart's desire, please drop a super thanks. All you got to do is hit that button in the bottom right corner. It goes a long way. Venmo, Cash App, at Carter the Power works. Let me know, Tennessee fans, what you want my offseason content to be for you guys, because you have shown me so much love this year. All right, here we go. Get a play action fake right here, and it's the vertical release. I mean, that's wide open. I don't know if this was part of the progression here. I think you're supposed to look right and go all the way to the left. So that's open, and now he has all day to throw. The protection is really good, and these comebacks were just there all day. And, of course, Nico's got plenty of arm to fire those things in. All right, so Heupel took some heat for this. You're up 28-0. Why are you throwing, right? I mean, the game's essentially over. I don't buy into that. I really don't. This is Division I Power 5 football. Iowa's a respectable program. Run it up on them, okay? Run it up on them. And coaches do this anyway. They empty their playbook in the final game of the year, no matter who it is, okay? This is a nasty design. Tennessee has had this work a few times. Obviously, Ole Miss does this. Texas A&M has done this. Run a go right here. Start the route off with a tight end blocking a player in the flat to make you think it's a screen. fake the screen, and then throw the tight end just leaking right here, okay? It's really nasty, and especially with the play action fake. So obviously the flat defender goes to the screen, and all you got to do is hit the tight end wide open, and the tight end has got to make this guy miss. He does just that, and he's rolling into the end zone for a touchdown. That's a good play right there by Castles. Alrighty, I always love seeing players' families go absolutely crazy. Let me give you my honest thoughts on this debut performance from Nico. It was okay, right? It wasn't anything spectacular, right? 151 yards passing, lots of rushing TDs, 6 sacks, though, right? Some of that is on the protection. I've been very critical of Tennessee's pass protection this entire season. Some of this is you on your very first start. Obviously, when you're trying to escape and do something spectacular on every play, that can lend itself to sacks, but 6 is a lot. But this, of course, is Iowa. It's also important to point out Iowa's best DB, Cooper Dijon, did not play in this game, so they're without some of their best players. Tennessee's best defensive player, who I think is 27, Pierce, was sensational in this game, right? As long as he's not speeding, he is going to be a really, really good SEC NFL player. He's just a really, really special, bendy athlete. And this Tennessee defense under Tim Banks, of course, Iowa's offense is abysmal. But when you have pick sixes and defensive momentum like the way Tennessee had, Iowa under 200 yards of total offense, it really helps. So big shout out to Tim Banks and those guys. But obviously the focus of this video is Nico. I've already seen him on some top 10 QB lists for next season. I focused more on the SEC. Where does he rank on the QB hierarchy? I think he's right there with Jalen Milroe and Garrett Nussmeier. Connor Wigman might have a thing or two to say about it. Jackson Dart as well. I do think he will be the best quarterback in the SEC next season. I'm really high on his talent. You guys saw it yourself today. And that's coming from someone that loves Garrett Nussmeier. I'm actually taking Garrett out of it because obviously I'm a fan of his. So taking him out of the equation, I think when it comes to all SEC, that is a big question down below. I think Nico has a very good shot to be first or second team all SEC next season. Obviously, Tennessee's weapons are going to be good, and the offense is going to be very good. Now, let me know what you guys think down below about Nico. Am I overhyping him? Because this was a guy who I said before this season he should be the starter. Now, Tennessee fans, if you're new to this, there are some other film studies from earlier this year floating in your face right now. We hope you enjoy it. It is Power Hour SEC. Boom! And tonight, we are doing pork chops. Let's go.